Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this 9-game main slate on DraftKings for Thursday night. As always, make sure you're paying attention to the weather, anything that might be happening, showers that might be popping up, as well as any COVID-related news with any late scratches or things of that matter. So we got a real interesting slate here. We got quite a few pitchers that are coming fresh off the IL or just like one or two starts off of the IL. So we're going to have to be paying attention to like pitch counts and, pitch limits and sort of all of those things. But still, I think there's lots of solid options pretty much at all the price ranges that are offered here, including some super cheap plays that are in nice spots. So let's just dive right into this. Scherzer and Sale, they're your top two on the slate. Scherzer has a tougher matchup going up against San Diego. Sale, I just mentioned there's been a lot of pitchers that are coming off the IL or fresh off the IL. He's 2 starts in. He went 89 pitches and 71 pitches. But still, he's got incredible stuff. Even on like kind of the limited pitchings count that he has had. I don't look too much into the 71 here. I don't know why they pulled him. It could be that, the game was over. But I don't know. So, but I haven't seen any like pitch limit on him at all. He's in a great matchup. He can easily get 25 or more DK points and pay off his price tag for sure. Scherzer, we all know what his upside can be. He's going to be in a nice hitter's park, going up against a tougher San Diego offense, but still a San Diego offense that can strike out a lot. So Scherzer can definitely have one of his ceiling games. So picking one of these two guys in cash is obviously the way to go. I would lean Scherzer over Sale at the moment. As I dive a little bit more into my research, it could flip-flop, but for now, I do like Scherzer here. Darvish and Eflin, both coming off the IL. Eflin, absolutely no. I won't have any interest in just because, his rehab start was 2 innings. And when your rehab starts 2 innings, you're not going to be throwing 100 pitches and going 6 innings. And a 9.3 price tag, that is just way too much. So he crossed him off the board, just too much for that pitch count. Darvish, who knows, how limited he's going to be. I don't like taking pitchers off the IL, fresh off the IL in the first place. Now he's got a tough matchup going up against the Dodgers, and he's priced right there with Sale and Scherzer. So I don't have any interest in Darvish here. Wood, he's fine. He's been decent on the season as a whole. He's got a decent matchup against the Mets, who are just in free fall mode. Solid form his past 2 times out. So 8-7, it's not the worst price tag for him. It's probably going to be in good line for the win just because of how bad the Mets have been and how good the San Francisco team is. But he kind of lands in like a weird spot in that it's going to be tough to fit in Scherzer or Sale and Wood and have like a lineup that you absolutely love in the bats, especially because there's a lot of solid options down below. So Wood, I'm not against him. I just think that there's better point per dollar plays and more optimal plays that kind of fit your lineup below the better. Corbin and Talon, I don't really have too much interest in here. Hernandez going up against Washington. I want Hernandez to have like a 90 pitch game. It does concern me a little bit that, he hasn't topped 68 pitches in all but one of his starts so far. And that one start was against the Cubs. Like, he's got a nice matchup. We know what his strikeout upside can be. So I'm not saying he's a fade. I just wish that he had a higher floor. I guess that's pretty much what I'm saying. I wish he had a higher floor. But I'm not off him, but I'm not excited about him. He won't be in my cash build. He won't be in my first, second, or third GPP build. But if you're making 150 lineups, you can throw him in there if you want. Carrasco and Caprillion. I'm going to say no, just because I like this range a whole lot better. Kikuchi, Gallon, and Mikolas. Kikuchi, he has a great matchup going up against Kansas City. We know what his floor can be. Got roasted his last time out. But still, overall, on the entire season as a whole, he's been really solid, especially at 7.3. He's gotten a serious price discount from where he was. Still, Kikuchi, I think he's probably one of my favorite pitchers in terms of like point per dollar on the slate. So he's definitely I'm not going to say he's cash, like a lock in cash. He's not a lock by any means. But still, he's definitely somebody that you need to take a hard look at, just given the matchup, his price, and how he has performed throughout the season. Gallon, he's got a nice GPP upside with him. I know his ceiling can be, he just went out in Coors Field and put up 31 DK points. He doesn't have the floor that other guys have, but still, you can kind of see he's boom or bust. He's hitting 3 times his salary, or he's finishing in the negatives or the single digits. So Gallon, I think, makes a great GPP play. Tough ballpark in Philadelphia, though. And then Mikolas, he's a solid pitcher. But he was off that 60-day DL, and then he had 1 start, and then he went back on the IL. 1 start again, but still, he was first start back, 84 pitches. So it doesn't seem like he's really too limited in anything. It's against the exact same Pittsburgh team. He put up 18 DK points. So if he's going to get you 2.5, close to 3 times value, those are the numbers that we strive for. I mean, that's going to be great. So I do like Mikolas in this position. So Kikuchi, Mikolas, Gallon, I think they're all fine plays. And then all the way down at the bottom, Brad Keller. I don't want to say it's a misprice on Brad Keller, but 5.2K, this guy has hit 4 times his salary value in 6 of his past 8 starts. That's just absurd. Like we're striving for like the 2 to 2.5K. He's hit 4 or 5, 2 to 2.5X. Sorry, he's hit 4X or 4 times his value in 6 of his past 8 starts. That is just unreal. He's doing very well. He's in a great matchup going up against Seattle. I mean, it's not an offense that should scare you at all. Obviously, they can get to you. I think Seattle could be a very solid GPP play, because I do think that Keller could garner quite a bit of ownership just with how well he has been pitching and the price drop that he has been given. So Keller, I think, is a very intriguing play on this slate. So Scherzer, just to recap real quick, kind of lump them into groups. Scherzer, Sale, your 2 top dogs, you're going to pick one of them at least. Wood, fine play, just in a weird price range that, I don't think is the most optimal for the rest of your lineup. Hernandez, nice GPP, talent, kind of same deal. I like this range here, Kikuchi, Gallon, and Mikolas a whole lot more, these 3. And then Keller, I think, is just way too cheap, given what his past performance has been and given the matchup as well. So let's look towards the bats. I mean, it's obvious it's been this way for how many slates in a row now? Boston, they're your top bats on the day. They have been getting some price bump up to the top of their bats, guys like Devers, they're lefties essentially. But still, Shaw 3.7, Verdugo at 3.5, it's still too cheap, in my opinion. So if Verdugo is hitting high up in the lineup, and he's going at 3.5K, I think he's one of the locks on the slate in terms of the bats. But still, regardless, Boston, they're a top offense that we need to be paying attention to on this slate. The Giants are going to be the next team I'll talk about here. Giants going up against Carrasco. There we go. Carrasco, he hasn't been terrible, but he also hasn't been good. You can kind of see how many earned runs he's been allowing. But then when you combine that with, he's only gone 5, 2, 1, 4 pitch innings, that's not good. His ERA is close to 9 on the season. The bullpen behind him isn't too exciting either, or something to get excited about either. So the San Francisco bats, I think, could be, excuse me. I think San Francisco bats could be a nice pairing. They're not too expensive at all. But going with the lefties in this lineup, you really can't go wrong with them. Even with the righties, I don't think it matters lefty or righty at this. Carrasco, he's been really struggling. The Mets bullpen behind him, not great at all. If you want some cheaper plays, we've been turning to Cleveland. It's kind of been the same as it has been all week long. I feel like we're just kind of repeating in these videos. Boston's number 1. Cleveland makes great value. Jose Ramirez, obviously expensive, Reyes expensive, but after that, you're down into the 3K and below range really quick. Miles Straw continues to be just way, way, way too cheap at 3K. Mercado 2.3, he's been popular as well. So, Cleveland, they can be a nice pairing, secondary stack that you can throw in with Boston if you really want to just light up your bats, or like your main stack. But Cleveland, I think they are a nice, solid option there. St. Louis, going up against Keller. Pittsburgh, Keller. We got 2 Kellers on the slate here. I feel like that's happened a lot this season. But Pittsburgh, Keller, I do like St. Louis going up against him. You know, I want to say he had a nice start his past time out. Let me go check this real quick. Yeah, he had a nice start out his last time, and it was against the same St. Louis team. But it kind of seems to be not the trend for him. Obviously, we know that. We know Keller's not a great pitcher. Like, he is decent. St. Louis has a lot of, so like, he's a right-handed pitcher. St. Louis, I'm thinking about their lineup. They have a lot of right-handed bats. So it is possible that, you know, they just aren't a great matchup against him. So maybe he's like a YOLO play that you want to throw into like your GPPs. But, you know, I still think the St. Louis offense, they do have the ability. If you want to put them as like a secondary stack, or if you want to kind of go a little bit contrarian, I do think they can provide a little bit of separation from that main, Boston, San Francisco stack, because, you know, they're priced very comparably to San Francisco. So if you think San Francisco is going to be very popular, you know, shifting over to St. Louis, pretty much same price range for their bats. I do think that is a solid option. Just kind of going through, that pretty much covers like all the guys that I'm really super high on. Yeah, that's pretty much. Everybody else, I'm not saying that they're a bad play. No, it is a larger slate. If I didn't go over them, it doesn't mean I hate them. I'm fading them, but I think those are the bats that I really want to be focusing on tonight. It is the Boston, it is Cleveland, San Francisco, and probably St. Louis here. I do think that there could be runs in this game, you know, especially, you know, Gallen, we said he's kind of boomer bust. He's getting you that 20 plus, or he's getting you in the single digits or negatives. So, you know, Philadelphia, I think, could be a really intriguing play. They are priced up a little bit high. It looks like you have to pay attention to the weather a little bit here. But still, you know, Philadelphia, that could be a nice leverage stack. I could see Gallen being popular and Philly not being popular because of that, and because they're just crazy expensive. They have 4 guys over 5K. Compare that to Boston. They have 3. So it's pretty amazing. I don't think Philly's going to really get any ownership. But if Gallen has one of his blow-up days, which he can have, Philly can be really intriguing. So that kind of covers things. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. It really does help us out in providing all this free content that we have provided all throughout the season. So good luck in your contest, as always, and we will see you in the next video.